Good evening. Welcome to the March 11, 2020 meeting of the Delhi Township Board of Trustees. We will have a Pledge of Allegiance, and then we will have a moment of silence. Tonight, the moment of silence will be for Lorraine Dunseth and Michelle Grace. Lorraine is was the mother of Lori Stutt, who's on the team here in Delhi, and the administrative staff, and Michelle Grace, the mother of Julia Grace. So our prayers just go out with them during this time, and we just ask the Lord to give them that healing, that peace, that strength and grace to kind of get them through this. We will also, and by the way, Lorraine, who I knew, Lori's mom, was a true prayer warrior. She was over at Bailey there, and she was just one, I think, who lived a life of prayer. So an honor to be with her, spend some time in prayer with her. So we also, of course, we just offer a moment of silence after the pledge for this coronavirus. It seems like each day it just keeps getting more and more challenging, if you would, and also more serious. So we just kind of send out good wishes and prayers for those situations. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Approval of minutes, please.
Motion to approve the minutes from the Board of Trustees meeting held on February 26, 2020, and dispense with the reading.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Motion approved.
Motion to approve bills for payment.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Motion approved.
Motion to approve the payment of overtime for pay periods ending February 25th, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Motion approved. Report from our fiscal officer, please.
As far as significant transactions since the last meeting, on 3/4, we received a deposit for $51,000 for the cable franchise fee. On 3/5, we received $1.4 million from Hamilton County for a real estate tax advance. And on 3/5, we also received $994,000, which was the local match from MSD for the Rapid Run Phase 3 project. And as far as disbursements, on 3/5, our payroll was $297,000. That's all I have.
Thank you, please. Resolutions?
Resolution 2020-034, resolution authorizing the Township Administrator to spend greater than $10,000 on behalf of the Township, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any other discussion on this resolution?
You going to tell us what it was?
This particular expense is for fire equipment, radio replacement, updates that are required.
Okay.
Thank you.
I move to dispense the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Sturts?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes. Trustee correspondence. Trustee Sturts.
Yes, we want to let everybody know to start getting, as you're starting your spring cleaning, our cleanup day will be Saturday, May 2nd. I do know Delhi Business Association will have their shredding again at C.O. Harrison, but be advised that it opens at 9, and as soon as that truck is full, it's going to pull away. Last year, some people were disappointed towards the end of the day when it was full and the truck wasn't there. So it is now 9 o'clock a.m. until it is full. And then, of course, at the Senior Center, we'll be collecting all other things that you want to get rid of. So happy spring cleaning.
Trustee Seavey.
Yes, it was our turn to attend the Hamilton County Engineers Annual Meeting. And I think the most gratifying thing that we learned while attending this was that the gasoline tax that we all moaned and groaned about receiving is coming back to us in road repairs. So I think the new acting Hamilton County engineer is a gentleman by the name of Eric Beck, and his first estimate is it could be an additional $2 million into the county for road repairs. So keep filling up. We're repairing the roads. Thank you.
Very well. Public Works, please.
Resolution 2020-035, resolution authorizing the installation of driver awareness signs for deaf child area on Glen Eagles Court and dispensing with a second reading.
This is resolution, okay. I move to accept, sorry, verbiage isn't on here, guys. I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Discussion?
Thank you, trustees. This is a request we received from a resident. It's on a cul-de-sac, short street. We'd be putting a couple signs up just to make the neighbors aware. The majority of the neighbors are aware of the sign getting installed also.
Very good.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Sturts?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes. Resolution passes. Fire Department, please. Chief Campbell.
The motion to approve the hiring of Billy G. Hatton III as part-time firefighter, paramedic in the fire department at the rate per the collective bargaining agreement with the Delhi Firefighters Association and successful completion of their pre-employment, physical, drug testing, and background check effective on March 11th, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Motion approved.
Motion to accept the voluntary resignation of part-time firefighter EMT Matthew R. Presnell effective February 21st, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Motion is approved.
Motion to accept the voluntary resignation of part-time firefighter paramedic Nicholas M. Conklin effective March 11th, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Motion approved. Parks and Recreation.
Did you want to say something?
You got more?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. We're going to have a talk.
If it would please the board, I'd just like to update something on COVID-19. So obviously the press has been inundating us with information on the coronavirus. So for starters, I'm not coming up to you as an epidemiologist or anybody with any more insight on the situation than what you can get as a layperson in terms of information. However, I want to reinforce the fact that, you know, those that are struggling to put together what to do, how to prepare those things they may be lost, they're going to look to the same resources that I would as a fire chief and as a resident myself. I'm looking towards, you know, the Ohio Department of Health, also looking for the CDC to give me insight and information. And why would I use those resources? Well, this is a moving target. It's changing 2 or 3 times a day. With that kind of rate of change, I could tell you something now that I would have to take back 5 hours later. And so I think just the inundation with the news, I think it's always a good rule of thumb. We're looking to post those things on our website, so we'll have contact to CDC recommendations on how to handle some of their day-to-day activities as just an everyday citizen and even healthcare workers. So there's different degrees of protection that you can take. Big thing is, if you don't feel well, don't attend meetings, don't go to work. The idea is that we're here to protect those that are at greatest risk. So 70 and up are certainly the ones that are at greatest risk from the disease, and thereby washing your hands, covering your coughs, protecting your coughs. And, the reality is being extra cautious in terms of it's a reality. For months to come, this may be a reality, but because it's changing so much, there is no one thing I could tell you right now that couldn't possibly change within the next couple hours, days, or months. So I think it's important that everybody stay aware, stay alert, and there's a number of outlets that we'll put out in the next coming weeks to help people make decisions about their everyday life and how to handle things to be safer in this environment.
I'm going to add a little bit to that. I think the chief is being a little bit humble in regard to we have more resources than just some of those outlets. I think he's pointing people to the CDC and the Public Health Ohio and County because we don't own the information. But the fire department has a medical director that advises on how to proceed with different things just for their ability to provide emergency medical services. They're also helping advise us on how we should best deal with this from a standpoint of providing service. So they are reacting as the best they can to going into situations. For example, they're only going to have one person deal with a patient that is potentially has COVID-19. Rather than 2 or 3 being around this person, they'll just have one. So hopefully they limit their possibility for exposure. But that would only be on cases where there's the potential high fever, sick person kind of thing. They also have the personal protective equipment to keep them, from getting the disease. PD are going to stay out of the house in those situations. They normally go in and make sure there's no safety issues, but they're going to stay out, so they're not at further risk. Internally, we've discussed this and how we're going to proceed as a township and how we're going to interact. A couple things that I took away as a very lay person. This thing has a 2 to 14 day incubation period, which is why you keep hearing 14 days for periods to self, quarantine. If you are coughing, fever, or some other symptoms, if you do have COVID-19, that's when you're contagious. So stay the heck away from places. Don't go and contaminate others. If you wash your hands vigorously, they say sing happy birthday or any other song that's 20 seconds long, but wash your hands vigorously before and after you eat, before you go places. I would say everybody wash your hands after you leave here, just precautionary. The contaminants last nine hours. So if you did pick it up from somewhere or it is on something, it's a 9-hour period that you can then, come across that service. So for us, and from what I've gathered from the different resources, is it's more the reaction of folks demanding too many services, and if too many people are quarantined, the service providers could be quarantined, and then you're creating a real bigger problem. I think it's not that it's going to cause me to have serious health issues. It's more like a cold or something along those lines. I've heard it called mild. But because there's no immunity in our system to it, if everybody starts getting it, if our fire guys start getting it, they got to be on the shelf for 14 days, and that's where the problems start occurring. So,
right. And I mean, the reality is if this starts to really pick up the pace and we start having more of these issues, every run represents an opportunity to spread it. So all our activities, our operation shifts to exposing the least number of people. We are just as susceptible as the rest of the country in terms of the supply. We only have so many supplies to deal with it. So the reality is, as long as we can stay ahead of the curve, and which this is what we're looking to do and kind of prepare for, we should be able to meet service demands. But you start to take people out of the equation because of quarantines, it's a reality we'd have to face. But most of our operations with law enforcement and fire and EMS revolve around taking care of normal service operations and then taking those additional precautions so that we don't spread that somewhere else. And again, hospitals have also said as well, unless it's in severe cases, bringing somebody to the hospital with it is pretty severe. So we're, if we have friends and family that they're at the house at a patient that we're transporting, we're going to insist that they do not go to the hospital. We will make them, arrangements to have them contacted by the hospital, but it's gotten that serious. And I know that's a difficult situation to kind of be in as a loved one and not go to the hospital. But what you represent by being around somebody that's potentially, positive for COVID, it's not worth. So that's what we're trying to do is protect other folks and think about that in a communal sense. And I think Delhi, we're on the forefront of doing that. We're already taking the necessary precautions, and we're making sure that we're educating our people continually. But like I said, it's a moving target of information, so it's important that people know what resources they can always go back to, because those resources I mentioned earlier update regularly.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that's going to come out and has come out a little bit is the prohibition of folks at public gatherings, i.e. I know the NCAA issued that they're going to not have fans at their games for the tournament. I know the governor is expected to issue something about public gatherings. It doesn't seem like so this meeting would be a public gathering. And because it's a controlled environment and, people are here and can be prudent washing their hands, we've wiped the surfaces. So this would probably continue, I would expect, because it's a small scale. If somebody's walking in here coughing, sneezing, and doesn't look like they feel good, they're probably going to be turned around and asked to not be here. So we can control that a little bit. We closed our senior center for today's normal Wednesday gathering. It wasn't because it was a gathering. It was because there was a group that had taken a cruise that typically attends the senior events. We referred to our medical director's advice, and they said they're coming from a high-risk environment, being a cruise, entering a population that's going to be at greater risk. Probably best not to do it. And so that'll be about a 2-week, make sure nobody brought it back with them. But that kind of thing is how we're going to deal with it until there's, the next iteration of here's what you need to do, so that we can help not prevent the spread of it where it makes sense.
And the best thing in keeping this on the forefront and how we're preparing for the coronavirus and doing all these things, it's a twofer. It's going to protect you from the flu as well. So, it's just kind of keep in mind. We know how to do this. We just got to keep it on the forefront and be diligent, both as, employees, elected officials, and community members. We're in this together. So the idea is really, if you feel sick, you have no business being around other people. Absolutely take that precaution.
Yeah, I think that's the best news of all is, if you feel sick, don't come out. Stay where you are. And hopefully as the updates come along, we'll put them on our website so people can see instantly what's going on, keep it fresh. And anything else, I think anything that any of us would have to say is just everything that you've already said. And everyone, again, due diligence and be smart, and at the same time remain calm, and we'll get through this. I have no doubt we'll get through it like we've gotten through other things. But it's a very serious potential, obviously, and we will take care of that.
We haven't canceled anything else yet, though, right?
Correct.
Okay. So that the website is the best place to check.
Good.
Or if you've got a question, pick up the phone and call the admin building.
Yeah.
Yes, we will put resources on our website pointing people to the places that issue these things. I don't think we're expecting to try and keep updating people with the current things, because 2 and 3 things are coming out at a time. So we're going to put, here's where you want to go to get the information, where we get the information. If we do close something, now the senior event was a little different. They're not necessarily checking the website or email, etc. So that was more of a phone call and a posting on the building. So that's, and then each group might make their own choice to not hold an event. And that's their choice. Like, let's not risk it. It's not that important, kind of thing.
And I would remind one other thing, because it always comes up where I would never sell our service short to where somebody didn't feel the need to call us, call 911 so that we can evaluate their situation and things like that. But if you're thinking, I've got a fever and I need to go to the hospital so I can be tested because we need that data, the reality is they don't have access to tests right now. So that's not even a reasonable excuse to be transported. You're going to be taken care of in terms of some of the same over-the-counter medications that we take for the normal flu and cold virus That's what they would be treating those symptoms. However, I have to always say, if it's any severity, you're having trouble breathing, that is what we're here for. Would allow us to kind of intervene and help and make that assessment. Don't hesitate to call us if you need us.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
You good, Rose?
I'm fine. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Thanks for taking the time to do that. Obviously very important. Parks and Rec, please.
Motion to approve the rehiring of Wyatt A. Griner as seasonal Parks and Recreation worker in the Parks and Recreation Department at a pay rate of $10 per hour, effective March 12th, 2020, and completion of drug testing.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion approved.
Motion to approve the rehiring of David A. Hay as seasonal Parks and Recreation worker in the Parks and Recreation Department at a pay rate of $10 per hour, effective March 12th, 2020, and completion of drug testing.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion approved.
Motion to approve the rehiring of Elizabeth A. Rodesheimer as seasonal Parks and Recreation worker in the Parks and Recreation Department at a pay rate of $11.25 per hour, effective March 12th, 2020, and completion of drug testing.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. I had one resident I ran into the other day who talked about, when is the township getting pickleball, since that seems to be an incredible thing. I've played it before. It's kind of fun. However, they actually said something about over by the senior center over there. It would be possible to put a little pickleball court in over there, right at the senior center. Just a thought?
That is a thought. We actually have it on our plans to paint pickleball lines on our tennis courts. This past summer, I went around and talked to all of our avid tennis players to make sure they'd be good with those added lines. And our guys that come out all the time, they were fine with it. So our first step will be to add those lines to our current tennis courts. And we've talked about different avenues as far as adding new courts at a couple different locations. So that's definitely on our radar.
Awesome.
You're correct, it's a growing sport. So our first step will be the new lines, and then moving forward, we'll talk about those other possibilities.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thank
We
you.
have requests for a year.
Yeah, for a while now, yeah.
Yeah, we have.
Yep. Josh, that's great that you have so many returning employees for the seasonal help, and I think you're still looking for some more?
Yes. If anybody's interested or know anybody that's interested, we're still hiring. We have probably 2 or 3 positions left. You can call us at 451-3300. Visit our website, fill out an application. If any questions, call me, and I'll be happy to answer
Summer
them.
fun in the park?
Yep.
And
Perfect.
you're removing the one motion?
Yes, the one motion for Tyler Thielen, he's moving out of the area. It won't be possible for him to help us out. So if you guys want to amend the agenda to remove him from it.
Great, thank you.
Do we have to do an amendment? Nope. Okay. Okay, good.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Police Department. Chief?
Motion to accept the voluntary resignation of police part-time clerk Melinda A. Clank, effective November 27th, 2019.
So moved?
Second?
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Melinda.
Why are we doing this now? I just have a question. I thought we already did this for her, or did we fail to?
I asked the same question.
Yeah, we never did it for her. She submitted it, but she was kind of, you could tell, up in the air. She's prior retirement. She planned on coming here 2 years from juvenile when she retired from the juvenile center, and she did 2 years, enjoyed it so much she did 8, but she's kind of wanting to do the retirement thing, travel a lot and so forth. She didn't feel like it would be fair to everybody else just to work one day here and there as much as she did. So I could tell she was on the bubble, so I just didn't accept it until now. I had a conversation with her, and she's told me it's final.
She's finished.
This is
Okay.
it.
One of the things the board has the pleasure of doing would be hiring folks, so you have to officially hire folks, and then you have to officially accept the resignation. So that is something you have to do. Like, we can't consider somebody termed until you do that. But in Melinda's case, it's just backdated because we didn't want to take her out of the system or officially say she was done. But it seems like they're gone. Why do you have to do anything? But you officially have to take that action for us to consider them, termed out, whether they resigned or.
I was hanging on
Otherwise.
to a little hope.
Okay, there we go. All right, that's the reality.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Administration, please.
Resolution 2020.
Hold on for 1 second on this. Is this 036 you're about to read? On the light duty?
Yes.
Yes, and I'm not sure what the protocol is on this, but since I literally just got this today, I'm not prepared to do anything with this until I've actually read through it on the light duty policy. I know you and I have had a couple of discussions, which is great, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate you getting it here quick. But honestly, literally just got this, so I don't want to just go ahead and approve this without, any further questions after I've had a chance. Ms. Sturts?
Same thing. I'm good with it because I just read something as we were leaving the house also. So,
Okay.
so what do? We just
Till the
Move to table?
25th of March, if we can do that at our next meeting, that would be good. That gives it a couple of weeks we can filter it. I appreciate that, and I really appreciate you getting it as quick as you did.
so we have to vote to table it.
Is it worth discussing the components of it or anything about it tonight? So we've,
If there's questions that you have, the questions I have, I can get in touch with you, so not to bog the meeting down, but Trustee Sturts?
No, I mean, the conversation, I just gleaned over it. I did get to read the cover on it that even though it's not stated, it does cover maternity leave. I mean,
it's
because it's not stated in it, but it does cover that as illness or injury.
the illness or injuries not.
Oh, okay. I've not seen it change verbiage.
So this is a light duty policy, which is something we've allowed and been practicing in some, and the push was to get something memorialized to say if somebody is unable to work due to medical reasons where a doctor says you can't work, police, fire, public works, parks, the physical jobs, police and fire more specifically because they have to be so available to do things, to be safe and safe for their coworkers. This would allow for them to perform other tasks if they're medically not able to work. Obviously, that would include somebody who's on maternity leave. If their doctor says, you know what, you can't function as a police or firefighter until later, then the possibility would be to have them work in an office capacity or not that full rigorous police fire capacity. So that's the intention of it. Yes, it would cover anything that a doctor would say you've got to not perform those particular duties, that is described in your job description.
I've already had the opportunity. I've read the first draft, had my questions answered, and I was ready to approve the second draft. So whatever you two decide.
Great, March 25th then?
I'm
That'll
done.
be, have it back
I've
on.
not seen the second draft, actually, unfortunately.
There you go.
So,
Okay.
I mean, do we have a need that we need to move this quickly? Do we have somebody coming in the
No,
pipeline?
It's presented on your agenda, so your prerogative is table it, discuss it, however you want to proceed with it. It's not an imperative, please take action tonight.
Okay.
Thank you. So the 25th then. Okay, Chief. Anything else from administration?
Wait a minute, we have to do.
Just make a formal motion to table and then pass it that way. Thanks.
Motion to table Resolution 2020-036 until March 25th, 2020.
Is that a motion? Okay, so moved?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
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 Thank you.
Thanks for your leadership.
Anything else, administration? Good. Community development, Greg?
We have a motion to appoint Stephen G. Schott to the Delhi Township Board of Zoning Appeals to complete an unfulfilled term ending December 31st, 2022.
So moved?
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion approved.
Congratulations, Steve. Thank you and welcome.
We have a motion to accept and acknowledge receipt of Zoning Commission recommendation in case ZC 2020-01 and schedule a public hearing for March 25th, 2020.
So moved?
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes, motion approved.
Did you want me to give a quick summary on the request?
Please.
Dries Homes and the Ryan Investment Group have requested to rezone Greenside Estates from A2 single-family residence to C single-family residence. It's basically to accommodate side entry garages. The setbacks in the development right now don't meet their setback needs to accommodate the curve in the driveway to get the side entry garage. So they need to shift the houses around a little bit. We looked through our code at all options. We even consulted with our law director about the best approach to this. We did look at variances for properties, but when they were not sure how many they were going to need, it ended up almost being a complete rezoning if they all have to come in for a request. So we went through our code, and the C district was the best option they had available with them based on the built environment with the roadway and the utilities put in place. So that is what the request is, and we'll get into more detail on the 25th. So,
Very good. Thank you.
Resolution 2020-037, resolution declaring nuisance for accumulated debris at 4476 Delhi Pike, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on the resolution?
same as you see on the pictures. There was a dumpster there. They were cleaning up this property, but they left some items behind. So,
Very nice. I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Sturts?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes. Resolution passes.
Resolution 2020-038, resolution declaring a nuisance for accumulated debris at 5326 Dell Hill Drive, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
yeah, real quick, you can see some trash bags around the back porch. We did talk to the property owner today. These tenants will be out of this house by the end of the week. So we are hoping to have this actually taken care of so we don't have to go in and clean it up. But we do still request you declare it a nuisance. So if it is not cleaned up, we are able to get in there and address the issue.
I move to dispense with second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Sturts?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes. Resolution passes.
Resolution 2020-039, resolution declaring nuisance for accumulated debris at 5767 Forson Drive, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
Unfortunately, we don't have the pictures, but there was a bunch of debris behind the car. If you look at the declaration sheet in your packet, and there's some items on the front porch. Those items, I apologize, the pictures aren't the best, but we were not able to walk this property. The property owner would not let us, so we had to take the photos from the public sidewalk. But the items were still there as of this morning, so we do request you declare it a nuisance.
Is this a repeat?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Most of the ones we get are repeats.
Repeats, yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember this one.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Sturts?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes. Have nobody signed in for public comments tonight? Anyone have anything they want to add? Speak now, forever hold your peace. Very.
Is voting still at the senior center?
Voting still at the senior center, as far as we know it, yes.
Well, we received something, an email today saying some locations may be changed, that you'll be notified to stay aware. You know, I don't know how they're going to notify you, email or mail, but some are going to be closed and combined. So that's something I did get on my email today.
We do not have a polling place that's located inside a retirement or rehabilitation center, and that's the first places that are going to be moved. So.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, announcement of community events.
Crazy for Crafts, St. Patrick's Pot of Gold will be Friday, March 13th at 6 p.m., and it will be at the Delhi Park Lodge at 5125 Foley Road. The March 2020 presidential primary election will be Tuesday, March 17th from 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. The Western Wildlife Corridor Animal Encounter with Great Parks will be Saturday, March 21st from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. at Kirby Nature Center at 2 Main Street in Addiston. Delhi Business Association Easter Egg Hunt will be Saturday, April 4th from 10 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. at Delhi Park at 5125 Foley Road. The Spring Craft and Vendor Show will be Saturday, April 11th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Delhi Senior Community Center at 647 Neeb Road. The Delhi Historical Society program, Designing Women, Cincinnati's Dressmakers will be Monday, April 13th from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Delhi Park Lodge at 5125 Foley Road. The Delhi Township Veterans Association General Meeting will be Tuesday, April 14th from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. at the Delhi Senior Community Center. The Western Wildlife Corridor 16th Annual Flower-a-thon and Native Plant Sale will be Saturday, April 25th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. at the Kirby Nature Center and Bender Mountain Preserve.
Very good. We do have need for executive session tonight. We'll entertain a motion to retire to executive session, please.
Motion to retire to executive session to consider economic development matters and litigation.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Sturts?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes. Thank you all for being here tonight. And our next meeting will be March 25th at 6 p.m. All are invited.
So can I wish everyone a happy St. Patrick's Day?
Sure you can.
To all my Irish friends and family.
Aaron go bra. What's that mean?
Happy St. Patrick's Day. Stay sober
There you go.
or stay home.
That's no fun.
Very good.
Alcohol does clean